Hello everyone, my name is Zael and I'll be talking to you about dom-sub relationships. In my opinion, one of the most well-known and most misunderstood aspects of kink and fetish. Before we start, I want to preface this video by saying that relationships can be very nuanced and personal to people, and what works with some relationships does not work in others. I will give my best overview of the topic, but I apologize in advance if I've missed out on anything. It was not my intention. Right, with that out of the way, let's define what dom-sub relationships are. Dom-sub relationships come under the BDSM umbrella and can be described as consensual power dynamics in which you can either submit to your partner or dominate them. In some cases, the power dynamic stays in the bedroom. However, some partners can maintain their roles for longer periods of time, such as during a holiday, while others take on a long-term arrangement where one is dominant and the other one is submissive throughout their lifetime. With that said, dom-sub relationships are not inherently romantic. In many cases, it can be a purely kink-based ownership or even a friendly interaction. Although there is a preconception that dominating and submitting is sexual, for many people they are completely different and are not connected in any other way. In the end, it is all about having a form of power dynamic. This can be shown physically through restraining or disciplining your sub, or serving a dominant sometimes by household chores, wearing specific clothing, or doing specific tasks for them. You can use verbal cues such as addressing a dom as sir, daddy, alpha, handler, or addressing a sub as boy, girl, or pup. You can give someone the token of being owned by you, such as a collar, such as this, with keys to the padlock being in a dom's care. All these tasks can build a sense of domination and submission and can be completely tailored to the relationship needs and wants of you and your partner. Now let's move on to some common misconceptions about dom-sub relationships, because there are many. I'll talk about a couple of the main ones that I thought are quite prevalent within the community. So firstly, dom-sub relationships are not toxic, dangerous, or abnormal. I think because of the popularization of stories such as 50 Shades of Grey and so on, a lot of people see any form of an unbalanced power dynamic as being manipulative and unhealthy. And truthfully, some can be. But it's important to note that in the end, being dominant or submissive to a person is a choice and has to be consensual. If someone does not feel comfortable with any aspect of the dynamic at any point during the relationship, they can revoke their consent, and the partner must oblige. With that being said, most dom-sub relationships are inherently there for pleasure, and as long as there is clear communications between partners, people don't put unrealistic expectations on themselves or other people, they are honest, open-minded, and understanding, and most of all, just enjoy the process, the relationship will work just like any other relationship will work. Secondly, you don't always have to fit one role. Most people are not clear-cut on whether they are purely dominant or submissive, and more often than not, it all depends on the partner, circumstances, and mood. If you're someone that likes to be both dominant and submissive and likes to use them interchangeably and doesn't have a very big preference, you are usually called a switch within the kink and fetish community. It's because you're switching between roles. And lastly, dominant and submissive roles are for everyone. There are many issues with preconception when it comes to gender roles within kink and fetish spaces. With more straight venues, women are often expected to be purely submissive, and with the visual of a dominatrix, which is a professional dominant femme, being one of the most popular visual representations of dom and sub relationships, it's a bit disappointing to see most women being categorized within submissive standards when it comes to just day-to-day interactions. Similarly, in LGBTQ plus venues, if you're younger, shorter, skinnier, or on the flip side, also older, masculine, you can find yourself put in a specific box, which doesn't always feel really nice. And, it might limit what you want to do within an event or who you want to meet. So that's a bit upsetting from time to time. Although everyone has different preferences and, everyone understands that, it is important to not stereotype people just because of their looks, sexuality, gender, or race. At the end of the day, as long as it's consensual, you can be as dominant or submissive as you want to be, regardless of who you are. And on that note, thank you very much for listening. If you have any other questions or would like to know more about the topic or kink and fetish in general, you can always contact me through my Twitter and Instagram at Zael. And until then, I hope you have a nice day.
Thank you for watching this video. Please follow our social media to stay tuned for the next video.